This is Tom Blackwell reporting live from Hampton, New Hampshire, where we are yet again experiencing a persistent snow event. It's been snowing heavily now for at least 6 hours, and the accumulation truly is significant. As you can see here, this contraption was readily available for use merely 2 days ago, and now it is completely covered with snow. Well, Jim, what that's called is a roof rake, and its use is quite controversial. As you can imagine, it does need to rake the snow from the surface of your roof, and that could cause damage to shingles or flashing. Some say that insurance policies could be rendered forfeit if there's any damage caused by water intrusion after the use of such a rake or device. Yeah, Jim, if there are folks that wish to use a roof rake, which can be quite useful for removing snow from the roof, they recommend getting a notarized rider for your insurance policy specifying its use. Oh, Jim, I've got to tell you, I'm almost stammering due to the accumulation. If we take a look at this alcove right over here, while that's difficult to see, that is nearly 4 feet of snow. It's truly amazing. This is Tom Blackwell reporting live from Hampton, New Hampshire. Hi, this is Tom Blackwell reporting live from Hampton, New Hampshire during the midst of what many are calling an historic or ahistoric snow event. Current accumulation is fairly significant. For example, here, let me show you where my feet are. And that basically is what you're seeing just about everywhere as far as depth of accumulation is concerned. Well, you know, Jim, whether this snow event becomes precedented or unprecedented really does remain to be seen. As you can see, it is still coming down right now, so the jury's still out on that. I would categorize it as a large amount of snow, yes. I'm a little bit reluctant to use the term that you were just using, given the fact that there could be children in the audience, but yeah, pretty darn close to that. Well, as I said, it's still coming down, so the forecast is calling for more. We shall see. Tom Blackwell, signing off. This is Tom Blackwell reporting live from Hampton, New Hampshire, where we are still dealing with the aftermath of what was an unprecedented snow event. Let's take a look at the accumulation. You can see here it's measuring well over 2 feet, and that's just in one area. We have places where that snow is even deeper. You know, Jim, the reason why the snow would accumulate more in some areas versus the other is really due to the billowy nature of the snow. It was quite light and powdery, and we did have winds in excess of 35 miles an hour during the teeth of the storm. That caused a lot of the snowfall to accumulate up against hard structures like fences and walls. You know, you're right. Moving the snow is treacherous. There are people that have injured backs and knees. We've even had a couple of aneurysms, which is really unfortunate. Well, Jim, as you can see, there is more coming. As you can see a little bit now, we actually had an additional 1 to 2 inches of accumulation just today, so we're far from out of the woods. This is Tom Blackwell reporting live from Hampton, New Hampshire.
Tonight on BSN News, we are interviewing Tom Blackwell with the Great Snowfall of 2014. So, Tom, what was the record low during those several days?
Well, Cameron, happy to be here. There were many days that it got below zero, especially at night.
Wow. And how did it affect your daily life, and how did it affect your community?
Well, from a daily life perspective, I had to move it a lot. I probably spent at least an hour and a half, upwards to 2 hours a day, simply moving snow. To give an idea of the magnitude of the snow, I've got a few pictures I could show you. You could take a look at the community. One of the things, from their perspective, it was quite expensive to move this snow. I mean, you can see here, that's a stop sign in that picture, and that pile of snow is well over the stop sign. So you can imagine that there's machinery and personnel that needs to be brought to bear to move snow of that magnitude.
Wow. That's amazing. And approximately how many inches did you get?
All told, it probably was upwards to 3.5 to 4 feet. And that was over several different snow events.
Wow. And what kind of damage did it cause?
Well, from our perspective, we had a lot of water damage on the inside of the house and also some structural damage on the outside. I can give you an example. Let me show you what water damage looks like. You probably can see here the drywall and the paint is bubbled up. And what happens is the snow accumulated so much on the roof that it really had nowhere to go. And what would happen is it would melt and refreeze, creating literally a dam, what they call an ice dam. And one day I was up on the roof trying to remove one of these ice dams, and there was about this much water, standing water, behind the dam. Let me give you an example of what one of those ice dams looks like. So here you can see this is the roof. Underneath that, or on top of it, is solid ice over a foot thick.
Wow. That is crazy. And throughout those several days, what type of clouds did you see?
Well, as you well know, there are over 10 categories of clouds and with over 27 subdivisions of clouds. During the snow event themselves, obviously we saw, as you would well expect, nimbostratus clouds. But following the snow events, we would see high cirrus clouds.
And what weather instruments did you use to measure all the snow?
Karen, given the magnitude of it, I ended up using the human body because literally I was trudging through it. And there were times that it would be well over my head. Here's an example where we were actually using, we could use our, this is using our vehicle to measure the snowbank. This was about a month after the snow event, so you could see it mostly sublimed. That's where the snow goes from a solid form directly into the air as water vapor. During the teeth of the storm, you wouldn't have been able to see that chimney.
That is impressive.
Here's another example that can show you the height of the snow. This is a peach tree. That peach tree is well over my head at this point. That's probably well over 15 feet high. So that probably is about a 10-foot high snowbank right there.
Wow. What weather patterns did you observe?
Well, what we would see is a large blast of Arctic air, kind of a high-pressure system coming down from Alberta and across the Great Lakes, coinciding with a warm, low-pressure system moving up the coast. And those collided right over the top of southern New Hampshire, southern coastal New Hampshire, producing the snow that you see here. What would happen is the low would traverse up, go past Nova Scotia and on over to the British Isles, and we would see that low, high-pressure system coming down from the, they called it the Arctic Express or the Arctic Blast, whatever you want to call it, and that would sit over the top of us, and that's what kept the snow here for so long.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. This has been Cameron Blackwell with BSN News, interviewing Tom Blackwell.
Thank you, Cameron. I greatly enjoyed it.
It was interesting talking.